Now, after the huge success of Louis Theroux's documentary Boy Bands Forever, he's now turned the spotlight on girl bands who defined the last 4 decades and the stories behind the hits and the headlines. Kelle Bryan and Heidi, who feature in the documentary, join me now. Good morning to both of you.
Morning.
Was this a sort of moment that you had both been looking forward to, in a way, to sort of tell your side of the story?
Well, that was definitely not my intention, because we had done the big reunion, which was our moment as a band to kind of come together and tell the story. For me, this was really about a celebration of girl bands, because the boy band one had happened, and this was really just a celebration of girl bands and all that we've achieved for me.
And it's about the sort of the cultural impact that all the girl bands, and actually, in a way, Heidi, and both of you, it was about the fact that you think of girl bands and we think Spice Girls, but actually what this documentary did was it reminded us all of the incredible history that we've all had growing up with all the girl bands that sort of coaxed us into feeling stronger and more powerful and braver and dressing how we want and all of that. Isn't that right, Heidi?
So many powerful girl bands, and, you know, I was a fan of Eternal growing up. But I just think, as Kelle said, it's a celebration of all these talented, brave, strong women who form like a sisterhood, and I loved seeing everyone else's stories.
Did you?
I really did, yeah. You know, I watched the boy bands one and I loved seeing that, and again, that's why I wanted to get involved with this, because I thought it wasn't an expose, it was tastefully done, and it was just a celebration.
Yeah.
And but it didn't shy away from difficult topics, did it? As we saw in your clip there, Kelle, you talked about body image, and you know, and that was obviously, we all know that it was horrible, really. And I just wondered what it was like for you talking about that.
I mean, the production team were amazing, but obviously you're dealing with difficult subjects to talk about. But I think it's important to highlight those things, because you hope that by talking about it, you bring change for other people that are coming up behind you. But unfortunately, we've seen, like with Little Mix and all of the other bands, that those issues and pressures still exist. For me, it was difficult to talk about, because it's those things those darker memories and those darker sides of things that, you know, was really difficult to deal with at the time, and the pressures that come with being a woman in the industry.
And being a black woman. I mean, that was, you know, being in Eternal, and about how... Well, just talk to us about that, because you didn't shy away from talking about the racism and, you know, within the music industry, from magazine covers and all of that. But you could see others were getting they weren't even as successful as you. We can't remember the names of some of the bands that got on front pages. You guys?
No, I mean, in those days, unfortunately, you know, racism was very much prevalent. You wouldn't get a front cover of a magazine, because we were predominantly, this is after Louise's exit, we were predominantly a black band, and so therefore you wouldn't get a front cover. And there were countries that we travelled to, and, you know, Louise would be the one that would be spoken to, and there were other countries that we'd travelled to, and we would be the ones that were spoken to, and it was all that kind of unspoken, unconscious bias that was going on within the industry. We never saw it as any different. You know, we just loved Lou, and still friends with Lou, love her. And so
and you'd known her from a young age.
Yeah, we went to school together, so, you know, I've known her since I was 11. So, you know, we go back a long, long way.
And Heidi, you talk very openly about sort of coming into the Sugababes and the changes that happened, and the idea that the Sugababes became a brand rather than about the individuals, and about actually how difficult that became in the end.
I think, you know, people always talk about the lineup changes, and the best way I can describe it is all 3 of us were little girls who'd grown up dreaming of singing. We'd all spent years rehearsing and you know, crafting our art, if you like, and you get that break, and all of a sudden somebody doesn't want to be there for whatever, because each lineup change was for different reasons. But each time, you know, we just had to sit down and go, do I want to give up my career now because somebody else wants to do something else? And we had a record label who were behind us saying, we still think you sound great, we still think you can sell records, we're behind you. So you're not just going to give up your whole career that you've worked your whole life for because of that change. You know, I was in the band for nearly 11 years, so people do change and situations change.
But you say in the documentary you got to, I think, age 30.
Yeah.
And you were like, I can't do this anymore. I want to be in my own kitchen. I want to be... And just tell us a bit about that moment for you then, about when you were like, it's over for me.
You know, it was incredible. And as I say, it was 11 years on the road.
And #1 hits and all sorts.
We had 6 #1s,
Yeah.
which, you know, I don't think about it very much in my everyday life now. So that was what was really nice to do, the documentary, and revisit those memories.
Yes.
But I was nearly 30. I wanted to settle down. I wanted a family. And in all honesty, with that last lineup change, it just didn't work.
No.
We were exhausted. We'd mentally checked out.
Yeah. And Kelly, can I ask you what you think about... I mean, I was thinking this morning, we don't really have any big girl bands at the moment, do we, that I can think of? Probably with this
Huntrix.
There's what?
K-pop, Diamond Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, that is the big one. But in terms of British music...
Yeah.
But what do you think about sort of how young women are treated in the music industry now, about if there was a girl band today? You know, do you feel more confident for them?
I don't really, unfortunately. I really feel like, and this is something I was discussing around when Liam Payne passed away.
Yeah.
I just think there aren't enough safeguards in place for young people, especially going into such sort of high-intensity industry. There aren't, I don't think, those sort of safety nets and enough safeguarding around young people within the industry, and that even exists today.
Yeah, and what do you think, Fanny?
I mean, that's a sad thing to think about, because I would have hoped, you know, back when we were doing it, mental health wasn't taken into consideration, but I feel like as a society, people are talking about it more. So you would hope that there's more, you know, safeguarding for people now.
And,
but
you know, and this girl band documentary, if anybody's interested, I mean, it will just give you a real insight into the truth of it. Not to scare you off, but to go, look, just be realistic about the kind of exhaustion and the mental strain it creates, as well as all the great highs and the wonderful memories as well. And before you go, I just want to say congratulations on your campaign on domestic abuse with Loose Women that you're doing it, aren't you? Facing it together.
Yeah, we recently went to Parliament and it was incredible. So we're just looking at really campaigning and making sure those changes are in place and there's support in place for women who are suffering with or victims of domestic
both
abuse.
still using your voices to empower women and girls. I love that. Thank you so much. Girlbands Forever. It's a really good watch. I've watched all 3 episodes. I loved it. Continues tomorrow, 9 p.m. on BBC One. And you can, as like I say, you can watch all the episodes on iPlayer. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.